for Indonesian general elections hosted by the House of Representatives of the Republic of Indonesia. In the light of democratic year and in the context of maintaining integrity and transparency of the democratic process, the Indonesian Parliament has an honor to invite you all to the 2024 election visit program. We sincerely hope that your participation as an observer can reflect the strong spirit and profound value of friendship and solidarity among us all. We are now begin with the special performance of a contemporary Balinese dance that celebrate the beauty of the universe. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sekar Jagat Dance. Excellencies, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we would like to invite the Vice Chairperson of the House Committee for Interparliamentary Cooperations, Honorable Mr. Putu Supatmarudana, to deliver the opening remarks. Please welcome to the stage, Honorable Mr. Putu Supatmarudana.
Very good morning, honorable delegates, and of course, ladies and gentlemen. Om Swastiastu. May peace be upon us all. Honorable Member of Parliaments, observer, delegation, ambassadors, and representative of international organization, Her Excellency Mrs. Siti Rosa Marianti, Secretary General of the ASEAN Inter-Parliamentary Assembly, Honorable Mr. Indra Iskandar, my good friend, Secretary General of the House of Representatives of the Republic of Indonesia, who is arranging the whole event. Please give warm applause to him. Honorable panelists, Mr. Hadar Gumai, Mr. Arif Budiman, Mr. Idewa Agung Gede Lidartawan, Mr. Iputu Agustirta Suguna, and of course, Mr. Idewo Kade Wiarsa Rakasandi, and Miss Titi Anggraini, distinguished guests, of course, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to, of course, welcoming you to the island of gods, the island of peace, Bali, Indonesia. It is truly an honor for me on behalf of the House, on behalf of the Committee for Inter-Parliamentary Cooperation. My name is Putu Supatmarudana. Would like to welcome you to Bali. And of course, and I'm from Bali, I'm very lucky and humbly lucky because I can welcome you here. We planned the event actually in Jakarta, but Mr. Indra Iskandar actually would like to have it in Bali, so I'm very lucky to welcome you. And of course, I have to highlight that I'm also a candidate, but today, actually, I'm trying to be a host. The campaign is finished, so now I'm the host. Ladies and gentlemen, holding a free and fair election is fundamental to a functioning democracy. It mirrors the extent to which ordinary citizens exert their power for the future of the country. Their vote will not only decide the outcome of this election, but also the fate of their life, family, and the country for the next 5 and/or 10 years, as well as the years that follow. The 1945 Indonesia Constitution clearly stipulates that general election shall be executed in a direct, public, free, confidential, honest, and just manner once every 5 years. It has laid down the basic principle and guidance for a democratic election. Holding a free and fair election encompasses equal opportunity for all applicable Indonesians to vote, accessible and secure polling station, and other procedures that are in accordance with the law and regulation in this country. In the 2024 general election, there will be more than 204.8 million registered voters, so more than 200 million voters. And Indonesia have more than 280 million population, the fourth most populous country. And more, of course, than 800,000 polling stations throughout the country and overseas. It would be a golden opportunity for Indonesian citizens to elect their representative and government leaders that lead our country. As a member of the House of Representatives, I'm emphasizing that this is important for the election to be successful and professionally conducted. But it is even more important that all of the people's votes can be counted and that their voices will be considered in policy making. Honorable delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing that 2024, as stated by the Time magazine at the end of last year, will not only be an election year, but the election year. Election will be held in more than 60 countries, representing around almost 50% of the global population. It is fair to say that this year's election will determine the state of global democracy and the world picture going forward. It will shape the country's future strategy in dealing with various global issues from, of course, trade, economic development, climate change, security, and of course, many other challenges. But one thing is clear, that we share a similar bold commitment to democracy, stability, and of course, prosperity. As a global community, we bear responsibility to maintain these values. Indonesia is an active member of various global and regional parliamentary forums. We are of Inter-Parliamentary Union and Parliamentary Union of Islamic Countries, or PUIC, at global level, as well as key actors in Asian Parliamentary Assembly, APA, and of course, Asia Pacific Parliamentary Forum, APPF, at regional level, and of course, AIPA, ASEAN Inter-Parliamentary Assembly, where we constantly strengthen mutual support in strengthening democracy and good governance. Election Observer Program is an important occasion where we can learn from each other, share best practices, and delve into democratic practices. In particular, the Election Observer Program is also part of the implementation of an agenda agreed during Indonesia's presidency at the 23 ASEAN Inter-Parliamentary Assembly, or AIPA, where we committed to strengthen democratic process, including through observing the country's election. The House of Representatives had also actively engaged in general election visit program across different countries. And I'm very lucky also to have visited many countries during their election as an observer. We acknowledge there was a lot we could learn from each other. Therefore, we are very confident that this activity will be an opportunity not only for the observers to see the first-hand process taking place in Indonesia, but also for us as a host to continue to improve ourselves from various perspectives. Through this program, we can showcase our democratic festivity and our country's commitment to transparency, honesty, and accountability. Meanwhile, election observer will be able to examine and monitor the whole election process to find uniqueness in our society and ensure that there will be no impediment throughout the process. As such, I sincerely hope that through your participation here today will not only be beneficial for our election process, but will also further foster cooperation and collaboration between countries. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are truly honored to be here with you today, and I thank you very much for your attendance and participation, as well as the good parliamentary relation all this year. I hope all the activities, including today's discussion and tomorrow's visit to polling station, will run smoothly and will have outcome as what the people hope for. And of course, lastly, I would like to, of course, for you to enjoy Bali and of course Indonesia. As you know, Bali is one of the most important tourism destination. So enjoy Bali, not only the polling station, there will be three. One will be in the village in Bangli called Penglipuran. Second one will be in Jimbaran, where you can find fresh seafood and many restaurants. And one in Garuda Wisnu Kencana tourism area, where our landmark, you can see our landmark there. So I thank you very much. And of course, on behalf of the House, on behalf of the committee, I would like to thank you for joining this very important event. I thank you very much. Om Santi, Santi, Santi. Om. Wabillahi taufiq walhidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mr. Putu Supatmarudana, for the opening remarks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite all of the honorable guests to join Mr. Putu Supatmarudana for the group picture. For those of you who would like to join the group picture, please come forward. Ready to take a picture? On my count. Ready to take a picture? On my count. 3, 2, 1. Once again, on my count. 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Now the 2024 election visit program has officially begun. Let's give a round of applause. Before we proceed to the next sessions, ladies and gentlemen, we kindly invite you to have a coffee break that will be served at the foyer area of the ballroom. You may bring your drinks and refreshment to the ballroom as the next sessions will be started in 10 minutes. Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please kindly be seated as we are going to continue to our next panel discussions. Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as the discussion will delivered in English and Bahasa Indonesia, we provide an SIS receivers for interpretations from Bahasa Indonesia to English and English to Bahasa Indonesia. Moving forward, we will begin our first sessions for today's seminar with the topic about the Indonesian general elections. I would like to invite our moderator who will conduct the panel discussions for the next hour. To Mr. Ahmad Sani Al Hussein, the stage is yours.
Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Best wishes for all of us. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Honorable members of Parliament, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. What a wonderful morning. We could get together here in this election visit program. Especially we are here in Bali Island, which some people, almost people, call one of the paradise in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow holds immense historical significance for Indonesia as we celebrate the fiesta of democracy. In our democratic culture, tomorrow's event is commonly known as a fiesta of the people or People's Party. Each person who has met the requirement or is eligible to vote will exercise their right, selecting leaders for the country and representatives in parliament. This year, Indonesian general election brings an interesting twist, allowing the people to choose from 3 candidates for president and 5 presidents who will guide the country for the next 5 years. Another unique feature is the simultaneous election for candidates for president and vice president, along with members of both central and regional parliaments. I believe this general election is one of the most complicated and require high level of coordination for success. Therefore, today, to provide thorough explanation, we have invited experts, practitioners, and community representatives involved in organizing the general election. Without further delay, let us warmly welcome our distinguished speakers. Mr. Hadar Nafis Gumai, please join me to the stage. Is Mr. Idewa Kade Wiarsaraka Sandi. And then Mr. Arif Budiman. The last one, but not least, is Miss Titi Anggraini. Well, before they share their insight, allow me to provide a brief introduction of each speaker's profile. Even though I believe that everyone here is already known very much about our panelists here. First, Mr. Hadar Nafis Gumai. Sorry about that. He was the chairman of General Election Commission from 2012 to 2017. And currently, Mr. Gumai is the executive director of the Network for Democracy and Electoral Integrity. The second one is Mr. Arif Budiman. He was the chairman of the General Election Commission from 2017 to 2022. He is now a commissioner of the State Electricity Company, Indonesia Power. The third, Mr. I. Dewa Kadewiarsa Rakasandi. He is a member of Election Organizing Honorary Council from 2022 to 2027. Lastly, Ms. Titi Anggraini. She is a researcher and advisory member of the Association for Election and Democracy. With that brief introduction, we have set the stage for some insightful discussion. I will give every panelist 20 minutes to speak. After all the panelists present their presentation, we'll get to the question and answer. First, it is time to turn our attention to Mr. Hadar Nafis Gumai. Please, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All distinguished guests, honorable members of the Parliament, delegates from the many parliaments, and Secretary General Pak Indra of the House of Representatives, and honorable and distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to be here, invited to this forum. Certainly, it's a very happy, exciting, and important moment, not just being with you all in this room, but being with you all that are going to observe and follow Indonesian elections, which is tomorrow. So this is an exciting. For many years, I've been following, and it was said also as an EMB members, in fact, in the 2012-2017, a bit correction there. I was only a very short time as a chairman to replace or to continue the terms of my chairman who passed away at that time for just the last year, the last year of the term. Yeah. Now, as requested, I was asked to share with you all a topic of the election system, electoral system. Apology if it's too technical. I hope it's not boring, but anyway, this is an important topics, because then when you come to see one country election, we need to understand this. Yeah. Now, apology for the pictures on on the front page of my presentation. Actually, those ballot paper 2019 elections. You see that the ballot paper for the presidential elections, only two candidates, yeah, two pair of candidates. Actually, today's we have three. So apology for that. Let's move to the second slide, please. So Indonesia has basically 5 elections at once. it is concurrent or simultaneously elections. So this is will be the second what we call the concurrent election. Since 2019, we also had the 5 elections together at one day. So those 5 elections is presidential elections, of course. 2 is legislative House of Representative legislative elections at the national level. We call here DPR, House of Representative, and also regional representative councils, we call DPD, that has members coming from every provinces. Now, also another 2 of regional legislative elections, provincial level, what we call DPRD province, and also legislative election from level of regency and municipality, and coming from 514 of regency and municipalities. Indonesian election hold in every 5 years, as the term 5 years, so every 5 years. And then also this will be the 6th elections, began from the transition to democracy. It was in 1999, the first one. As you know, it was just a year after the President Suharto resigned. Then we start, with the spirit of making Indonesia to be a democratic country. And now, when we talk about presidential elections, the system itself basically a majority vote-based system. Though rather unique, not very many countries has this. So please share if you do have similar in your country. It has 2 requirements. One is reaching a majority vote, which is at least 50% of the total votes of the election in Indonesia, and also need to meet the requirement of the distribution support that the candidate or pair candidate get, which is at least 20% in more than half of the province in Indonesia. So this is a system of majority we have that has 2 very important requirements to be met. So what's going to happen if none of the candidates pair reach this requirement? Then we will go for second round. Then who will participate in the second round? The 2 candidates pair which reach or got the most votes will go for the second round. So here we can say also kind of a runoff election system. Now, for the candidacy or nomination of the pair, it comes from political parties or a group of political parties, which at least 20% of this party or a group of political party has to have seats in the parliament, national parliament, in DPR, or 25% of valid votes in total of those group political party that they had from the earliest or previous elections. So candidacy requirement for the present election, but based on what we had in 5 years earlier. So this is the condition of the regulation of the system in Indonesia. Now, Can you move back? Sorry about this. Has to be the presidential election yang di halaman keduanya, moderatornya. Nah, okay. Sorry about that. I keep talking, but I was I was talking about the system of presidential election, but the monitor says about legislative election. Sorry about this confusion here. So now we have 3 candidates again this time, and the elected candidates pair will go for 5 years, and they can become a candidate again for the second terms. And second term is the limited. As you know now, President Jokowi no longer can go for the candidate. Because he already done, well, next October will be done for 2 terms. Yeah. Now, so basically that is the presidential electoral system. Now, the second system is about the legislative elections. Now, legislative election, there are 3 levels. The national one, DPR, and the other 2 is provincial and regency and municipality. So, and they have, those 3 elections has the same system, what we call here the proportional representation with an open list. Now, basically, this system, each voter votes for 1 vote, either to vote directly to a candidate on the ballot paper or the party, 1 party. So to decide how many seats each party got, so this system used the formula of, we call sane log, which is the total valid votes that each party got in each district of elections will be divided by divisor 1, 3, 5, 7, and so on. And maybe some of you are familiar with this. Now, after each party got the seat allocations that they won in each district of elections, then those seats will be filled by the candidates from that party who got the most votes. For example, 1 party in 1 district of election got 2 seats. Now, the 2 seats will be given or will be filled by the 2 candidates from the list that got the 2 most votes. Okay, so that's an open list, what we call here, of proportional representations. Now, there is a threshold, 4%, but this is only apply for the election of the members for the national level House representative, not for the provincial or regency or municipalities. So now there is also an affirmative regulations for women candidates, which is every party in every district of election in their candidate list need to have at least 30% of women. So that's the system for legislative election. Now I go to the last one because this is only 2 minutes, 35 seconds left. All right, now the third one is a system or electoral system for the regional representative councils. Now this is what we call system is single non-transferable votes. So basically all or each voters will choose 1 candidate on the ballot paper, and those who got four candidates who got most votes because each province represent or will be represented by 4 candidates will be decided or determined as a winner. So this is the system for the Regional Representative Council. Indonesia today have 38 provinces. So in total, there 152 seats will be filled in these coming elections that will work in the parliament in Jakarta. In those 152 consist of 4 candidates or 4 representatives that won the election from each province. So in total, for this election, we have 668 candidates. So those spread in 38 provinces. I don't know how many candidates in Bali, maybe in a candidate speaker from Bali later. Well, anyway, and now another information for this one is candidate for the Regional Representative Council can come or consider as an independent candidates, where the others election, those has to come from political parties. So at least they have to have, meet some requirements, supported signature to support him or her to participate in the election. Detail we can discuss later. But again, ladies and gentlemen, all participants, those are the 3 electoral system in Indonesia for 5 elections that we have. I think I stop here. I hope it's clear for you all. If not, then we can come to a discussion later.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gumai. Please give an applause to Mr. Gumai. What a wealth knowledge of system of election in Indonesia, Mr. Gumai. Since I'm highlighting a little bit probably, since you mentioned before that we are having 3 candidates for president and 5 president, it could be getting into 1 term or 2 terms. Yeah, it would be second round. It's of course it's required some requirement, as you mentioned. There are 3 requirements that they have to fulfill. Let us move to the next chapter of the how to getting know the system of the election of Indonesia. Please welcome Mr. Arif Budiman. The floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much, Pak Sani. His Excellency Pak Butuh, Pak Sekjen, Pak Indra, our distinguished guest, Professor Eric, thank you for coming. Bapak Ibu sekalian yang saya hormati, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, I have a little problem with my voice. I have already my drink. It is honor for me to be here, have a presentation about Indonesian concurrent election 2024. And please allow me to deliver my presentation in Bahasa Indonesia. Next. This is the legal framework of our elections. The Constitution, 1945, the law number 7, and law number 1 for the local elections. Next. Some of my presentation are already delivered by Pak Hadar, so I will skip in some pages, so it will be shorter than Pak Hadar of that. This is our election management bodies. Yeah, we have 3 election management bodies: KPU, and then Bawaslu, and we call the KPP, the Honorary Council of Election Management Bodies. Pak Dewa is one of the commissioner of DKPP. Next. And KPU is term of service 5 years. So every 5 years, we can have re-elected for one additional term. We have 7% in the national level, 5 to 7 at the provincial, 3 to 5 at the regency or municipal, and we have ad hoc officer at the sub-district, village, and updating voter list officer, and also the poll worker. 7 person who are working at the polling station. Tomorrow you will visit some of the polling stations. Next. And this is the principles of Indonesian EMBs. So this is the guidance for us working and hold the elections. Independent, honest, fair, legal certainty, orderly, based on public interest, transparency, proportionality, professionality, accountability, efficiency, and effectiveness. Next. And this is our election. Pak Hadar already delivered it. We have national and we have local election. And at the national election, we have presidential and legislative election. At the local election, we have governor, region, and major elections. Next. Introducing the concurrent elections. Since 1998, when we have transition elections, 1999, Pak Hadar, Pak Dewa also involved in 1999 election. Pak Hadar, me myself, as an observer at the 1999 elections, Mbak Titi as a Bawaslu. At that time, the election supervisory bodies. So at that time, Mbak Titi is still student, university students. Yeah. Up to now, it's almost 25 years, quarter century involved in elections. And we have a local election since 2015. And now, 2019, when we have first general concurrent election in 2019, we have national concurrent elections. Now 2024, not only the national elections, but also we concurrent the election for national and local elections. You can see the tables. Next. This is the stages of our national elections. At the preparation stages, we have program and budget planning, drafting the regulations, selection of ad hoc committee, and also doing a potential voter list. Prior to the election, we have stages of candidacy, updating voter list, campaign, and silent period. Now we are at the silent periods. And the election day and post-election, counting and recapitulation, electoral dispute, and inaugurations. Next. This is the voting days for the national election. February 14, tomorrow we will have the national elections. And November 27th, we will have the local or regional elections. Next. And this is our election in numbers. Pak Adal already stated. Yeah. We have 38 provinces, more than 200 million voters, and more than 800,000 polling stations, domestic and overseas. Next. And this is the permanent list recapitulations. Permanent voter list recapitulation, we have 203 millions in domestic and more than 1.7 million overseas. Next. And this is the number of person that will be involved in our elections. At the voting days, we have more than 5 millions totally at the national level. 5.7 million is only at the polling station level, but all will be more than 7 million person will be involved at the voting day. You can imagine that we also have Bawaslu, we also have DKPP, we also have political parties. If all of them are involved in the voting days, it's more than 15 million person will be involved at the voting days as a witness, as an observer, as a security guard, and so on. Next. This is top 20 Indonesian representatives with the largest number of voters overseas in Kuala Lumpur, in Taipei, Singapore, Johor Bahru, Penang, Kuching, Kinabalu, Jeddah. This is the top 20 Indonesian representative with the largest number of voters. Next. This is the political parties for 2024 elections. We have 18 national political parties and 6 local political parties. That is in Aceh province. Next. This is the comparison allocation of seats and electoral district in 2019 election and 2024 elections. Almost in every level, there are more district and more seats. At the national level, you can see that from 80 districts to 84 districts at the 20 between those two elections, all district and seats are getting more. Next. This is campaign period and the methods. We have already finished the campaign period, as Excellency Pak Putu said, and now we have the electoral silence period. So no one allowed to campaign. Yes. So Pak Putu here as a host of this election visit program. Yeah. Next. This is the electoral formula. Pak Hadar already described and explained about the presidential election formula, and this is the House of Representative formula. 4% will be the minimum threshold of the House of Representative. So if you get less than 4%, and your vote will be not counted by the KPU. Next. And this is our stages for the counting and recapitulations. We have a tabulation from the polling station level, and finally, not more than 35 days should be finished at the national level. Yeah. Maximum 35 days. While at the 2019 elections, we can finish the recapitulation as a final result of the election at the 34th days. Yeah, 34. Next. Evaluating in using IT on election. Yeah, we are using IT since 2004, 2009, 2014, and 2019. This is our roadmap and implementation of the use of IT in the Indonesian elections. Next. This is some example of using IT on our election, publishing the curriculum vitae of the candidates. So voters can check which one of the candidate that they will vote. They can see the curriculum vitae of each candidate from the National House of Representatives. Next. Publication election results. All we call Sirekap. KPU publish every counting from its polling station in website. People can watch and see the process openly. Counting process watched by Panwas, election participant, witness, and voters. Next. The impact of open data initiative in Indonesia. Making election data and information more accessible. Building trust through transparent and accountable elections. Fostering innovation, public engagement, voters' participations. Next. This is our experience, me myself, when I am the chairman of the election commissions. Three main activities that KPU involve: regional stakeholder meeting, election and technology, gangguan terhadap hak memilih, voter suppressions, phenomenon and countermeasures, multi-stakeholder forum on handling disinformation. Next. This is the detailed explanation of voter suppressions, phenomenon and countermeasures. Next. Multi-stakeholder forum with some government office. We have a multi-stakeholder forum. Next. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Arif Budiman. Please give applause to Mr. Arif Budiman. Thank you so much from his presentation, so that we can know exactly how many institutions that conducting the general election in Indonesia, and then what the principle of the election itself. And as you know that Mr. Arif mentioned that the voter in Indonesia is almost more than 240 million voters, and there's also some very complex managerial, and then how the Indonesian institution try to acknowledge the people, to know the profile of every candidate, whether it is president or member of parliament. Well, next, we are now ready to further enrich our understanding with yet another distinguished speakers. Please welcome Mr. I Dewa Kade Wiarsara Kasandi. Time is yours.
Baik, terima kasih Mas Hani yang memandu acara ini. Bapak Ibu sekalian, mohon izin saya berbicara dalam bahasa Indonesia. Yang saya hormati Pak Putu selaku tuan rumah, Bapak Sekjen DPR RI beserta jajaran, demikian juga Bapak Ibu dari delegasi sejumlah negara yang hadir. Om Swastiastu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Pertama, tadi sudah diperkenalkan, saya Dewa Rakasandi, anggota Dewan Kehormatan Penyelenggara Pemilu. Sebelumnya, sempat di KPRI dan saya adalah juga Ketua KPU Bali. Jadi kami juga mengucapkan selamat datang di Bali ya kepada Bapak Ibu semua. Baik, lanjut ke slide berikutnya. Bapak Ibu sekalian, tadi sudah disebutkan bahwa kami di Indonesia memiliki 3 lembaga penyelenggara pemilu. Ya, secara garis besar tahapan ya diselenggarakan oleh KPU, kemudian pengawasannya oleh Bawaslu, dan kami DKPP memiliki tugas dan kewenangan untuk menegakkan etika penyelenggara pemilu. Ya, barangkali tidak banyak negara atau mungkin tidak ada negara yang memiliki lembaga seperti Indonesia, khususnya DKPP ya, Pak Hadar ya. Atau mungkin ada tapi dalam bentuk yang lain gitu ya. Ini mungkin nanti kita bisa bertukar pengalaman tentang praktik-praktik yang memang sudah terselenggara di antara para peserta. Jadi kami diatur di dalam Undang-Undang Pemilu, Undang-Undang Nomor 7 Tahun 2017, gitu ya. Secara garis besar demikian. Lanjut ya ke slide berikutnya. Jadi kami memiliki tugas dan kewenangan yang pada garis besarnya menerima aduan ya atau komplain tentang perilaku penyelenggara pemilu. Perilaku penyelenggara pemilu dari sisi etik adalah hal atau suatu tindakan yang patut atau tidak patut dilakukan, gitu ya. Jadi fokus kami pada etika penyelenggara, ya, yang kemudian diperiksa dalam persidangan DKPP. Sedangkan kalau masalah aspek hukumnya itu kami serahkan kepada lembaga-lembaga peradilan yang berwenang atau kepada pembentuk undang-undang ya, dalam hal ini tentu pemerintah bersama DPR gitu. Ya, jadi kami menerima, memeriksa atau melakukan verifikasi terhadap dugaan pelanggaran etika yang dilakukan oleh penyelenggara pemilu ya. Nah, kami berwenang untuk memanggil ya pihak-pihak terkait, apakah yang kami sebut sebagai pengadu maupun pihak yang diadukan begitu. Ya, lanjut. Nah, ini tadi sudah disampaikan oleh yang terhormat Pak Arif Budiman, mungkin juga Pak Adar, bahwa di dalam melaksanakan pemilu, Indonesia selain merujuk kepada aturan-aturan soal tata kelola tahapan dan pengawasannya, kami juga memiliki sejumlah prinsip. Ya. Prinsip ini diatur dalam Undang-Undang Pemilu, ya, dan juga diatur di dalam peraturan DKPP. Ya. Prinsip jujur, ya, mandiri, adil, dan seterusnya. Kami mengkategorikannya menjadi 2 hal yang pokok. Prinsip soal integritas ya atau integriti dan soal profesionalisme gitu ya. Seseorang penyelenggara pemilu yang terbukti dalam persidangan DKPP melanggar prinsip integritas itu bisa diberi sanksi lebih berat ya, lebih berat. Karena bagi kami Indonesia aspek integritas dalam pemilu ini sangat penting. Sedangkan aspek profesionalisme ini atau profesionalitas ini lebih kepada tata kelola ya, khususnya aspek administrasi, penyelenggaraan tahapan, dan lain sebagainya. Seperti itu garis besarnya. Baik, ke slide berikutnya. Ini ya penjelasan tentang apa itu prinsip jujur, apa itu prinsip independen, fair, akuntabel, dan lain sebagainya. Ya. Jadi ketika seseorang diadukan ke kami memeriksa pengaduan tersebut dan kami menilai apakah terbukti melanggar atau tidak. Jika terbukti melanggar, maka prinsip-prinsip ini sebagai parameter untuk menentukan jenis sanksinya, gitu ya. Jadi kejujuran, ya, kemudian kemandirian, kemudian apakah mereka juga bisa mempertanggungjawabkan secara administrasi maupun termasuk keuangan ya tindakan-tindakan para penyelenggara pemilu itu. Ya. Lanjut ya, slide berikutnya. Ya, sekarang ini legal certainty ya atau kepastian hukum ya, aksesibilitas dan lain sebagainya, ya keterbukaan terhadap informasi-informasi yang memang tidak dikecualikan gitu. Lanjut. Ya ini sekira tadi aspek profesionalitas ya, kemudian efektivitas dalam menyelenggarakan tahapan, efisiensi dan juga bagaimana memberikan pelayanan terhadap kepentingan umum. Ya, lanjut. Jadi pada prinsipnya ya kami memiliki kewenangan untuk memeriksa dugaan pelanggaran baik yang dilakukan oleh KPU maupun oleh Bawaslu. Tapi DKPP membagi menjadi dua kategori, yang ditangani langsung oleh kami DKPP, ada juga yang ditangani oleh KPU dan Bawaslu Kabupaten Kota. Ya, jika yang diadukan adalah jajaran di bawahnya dan tidak melibatkan penyelenggara kabupaten kota. Karena kami di Jakarta, DKPP tidak mungkin akan menangani semuanya karena jumlahnya sangat besar ya untuk seluruh Indonesia gitu. Ya. Lanjut. Slide berikutnya. Nah, ini prosedur ya. Mungkin saya ceritakan secara garis besar, bisa ke slide berikutnya. Jadi kami memiliki sejumlah aturan ya. Aturan utama adalah soal peraturan DKPP tentang kode etik ya, dan pedoman perilaku penyelenggara pemilu. Itu adalah etika materialnya. Kami juga memiliki pedoman beracara atau di dalam peradilan disebut sebagai hukum acara gitu ya. Jadi, nah, para pihak dari aspek legal standing ada yang disebut sebagai pengadu. Ialah seseorang yang merasa dirugikan ya oleh tindakan penyelenggara pemilu. Bisa jadi mereka kemudian tidak masuk dalam daftar calon tetap ya karena tindakan yang diduga dilakukan secara tidak tepat oleh penyelenggara pemilu. Bisa juga seseorang yang kemudian seharusnya diterima sebagai penyelenggara pemilu tapi tidak lolos karena problem-problem teknis yang dilakukan selama proses penyelenggaraan yang dianggap tidak tepat begitu. Itu contoh-contoh saja ya. Jadi ada yang pihak pengadu. Nah, siapakah di Indonesia ini yang boleh mengadukan atau boleh komplain terhadap penyelenggara pemilu? Yang pertama adalah warga negara yang memiliki hak pilih. Setiap orang yang memiliki hak pilih, warga negara, itu memiliki hak atau legal standing untuk menyatakan keberatan terhadap perilaku penyelenggara pemilu. Yang kedua, tim kampanye ya. Tim kampanye perwakilan dari pasangan calon itu boleh ya. Kemudian penyelenggara pemilu. Jadi kami misalnya tindakan KPU dianggap tidak patut di suatu kabupaten, itu bisa diadukan oleh Bawaslu kabupaten. Ya, jadi antar penyelenggara pemilu dimungkinkan untuk mengajukan komplain ke kami. Tetapi di era kami bersama Pak Adar ya, beliau ini adalah dulu pimpinan saya, Mas Arif ya, pernah jadi pimpinan, pernah jadi kolega. Kami KPU menyarankan untuk tidak mudah mengadukan Bawaslu, begitu ya. Jadi kalau ada masalah kami selesaikan internal ya. Tapi pada faktanya sampai sekarang memang lebih banyak Bawaslu yang mengadukan KPU. Itu berdasarkan data yang ada, gitu ya. Jadi kami di Indonesia antara satu lembaga penyelenggara pemilu itu boleh mengadukan yang lain. Lalu DKPP melakukan verifikasi secara administrasi dan secara material terhadap substansi komplainnya itu, gitu. Ya. Kemudian siapa yang bisa diadukan adalah sepanjang penyelenggara, mulai dari pusat Jakarta sampai ke tingkat desa atau kelurahan, bahkan sampai di TPS ya atau penyelenggara di tingkat tempat pemungutan suara, itu boleh diadukan. Jadi kami terbuka terhadap masukan masyarakat dan aduan masyarakat apabila diduga ada penyelenggara pemilu yang tidak bekerja secara profesional dan melanggar prinsip-prinsip integritas penyelenggara pemilu. Lanjut ya ke slide berikutnya. Ini saya kira ruang lingkupnya ya. Tadi sudah saya jelaskan secara garis besar. Lanjut. Ini prosedur ya. Jadi seseorang boleh mengadukan komplain datang langsung ke DKPP, lewat email boleh ya, lewat pos juga boleh. Jadi kami memberikan kemudahan kepada para pihak untuk mengadu ke kami atau melapor ke kami gitu. Ya, jadi dilakukan verifikasi administrasi, kemudian verifikasi material yang memenuhi syarat disidangkan. Sidang DKPP diselenggarakan secara terbuka ya, kecuali untuk sidang yang mengandung dugaan asusila. Kalau asusila, unsur aduannya mengandung aspek dugaan pelanggaran asusila, kami lakukan secara tertutup ya, untuk menjaga ya kehormatan keluarga dan sebagainya. Dan ada hal-hal yang sangat pribadi yang seringkali dijadikan bukti, ada foto, ada video dan sebagainya, itu kami tidak mungkin publikasikan kepada masyarakat. Ya, lanjut. Ini ya contoh persidangan kami, persidangan DKPP yang dilakukan beberapa hari yang lalu, ya begitu. Lanjut. Ini ya saya kira tadi tentang sifat putusan. Putusan DKPP final dan mengikat ya bagi penyelenggara pemilu dan bagi presiden ya KPU Bawaslu. Tapi dalam faktanya memang sejumlah putusan kami diajukan komplain ya atau keberatan atau gugatan ke PT UN gitu ya. Ada yang memang dikabulkan, ada juga yang tidak. Tapi pada prinsipnya sebetulnya putusan etik tidak sama dengan putusan administrasi, tapi faktanya demikian. Ya, lanjut. Ya, ini adalah sanksi. Bapak Ibu sekalian, sekiranya ini penting. Kami berwenang untuk merehabilitasi nama baik penyelenggara pemilu yang tidak terbukti bersalah dalam persidangan. Ya, jika seseorang diadukan, contoh Pak Hadar ya, jadi beliau selalu jadi rujukan bagi kami. Sesaat ya, seingat saya ketemu tim kampanye salah satu pasangan calon dengan tidak sengaja karena malam habis bertugas di KPU, lalu diadukan. Tetapi ternyata beliau mampu membuktikan bahwa tidak ada urusan pribadi atau urusan lain selain semata-mata soal itu. Terhadap penyelenggara pemilu yang demikian, direhabilitasi nama baiknya. Tetapi terhadap yang terbukti, kami bisa memberikan peringatan keras ya, peringatan keras terakhir, dan kami bisa memberhentikannya sebagai penyelenggara. Ya, kami juga bisa menentukan seseorang tidak boleh lagi menjadi penyelenggara pemilu. Ya, jadi dalam praktek yang sudah berjalan demikian. Cuma memang mohon izin Pak Adar, Pak Arif dan Mbak Titi masih menjadi perdebatan tentang apakah putusan DKPP ini akumulatif atau alternatif. Nah, ini yang menjadi PR kami, dan kami sudah mendapat banyak masukan dalam sejumlah FGD yang dilakukan, dan DKPP berencana untuk menyempurnakan pedoman beracara kami pada masa yang akan datang. Jadi sekira demikian yang dapat saya sampaikan, tapi pada prinsipnya kami memiliki tugas, wewenang dan kewajiban untuk menjaga kehormatan penyelenggara pemilu agar pemilu dipercaya rakyat dan agar hasilnya mendapat legitimasi publik. Saya kira demikian yang dapat saya sampaikan, lebih kurangnya mohon maaf. Tentu kami juga berharap mendapat masukan-masukan dari Bapak Ibu sekalian, para sahabat dari berbagai negara yang hadir tentang praktek-praktek baik di negara saudara. Dan saya kira Indonesia tentu setelah pemilu ini saya kira penting untuk juga melakukan evaluasi dan penyempurnaan kembali terhadap undang-undang pemilu kita. Demikian, Mas Ani, terima kasih.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dewa. Thank you. Well, it's very interesting that in Indonesia, not only there are two institutions, but adding one another institution in conducting the election. Which one is it? Not only the commission, the election commission, the election, the supervision board, but here in Indonesia we have the election organization honorary council that they trying to establish the election, the general election in Indonesia, that being conducted as honest, fair, direct, free, and secret. course, that almost complete our discussion today. But the last one, we have the representative of the community. They always take a good watch to every conducting electoral election, general election in Indonesia. Please welcome Ms. Titi Anggraini. The floor is yours.
Ya, thank you so much Pak Sani. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, His Excellency, Bapak Putu, Bapak Indra Iskandar, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much to Dewan Perwakilan Rakyat for inviting me to be able to be part of this very strategic and important forum. My name is Titi Anggraini. Actually, I'm an activist. I spent 25 years dealing and working with elections, doing research, advocacy, and publication to promote free and fair elections in Indonesia. I also teach constitutional law. My specialty is election law in Faculty of Law, University of Indonesia. So I would like to discuss with you about the public participation in the 2024 elections. Next slide. As mentioned earlier by Bapak Hadar Nafis Gumai and Pak Arif Budiman, 2024 is the year of the colossal and biggest agenda for Indonesian democracy. The world's biggest one-day election with the most technical complexity in the world. Since 2004, even the Economist magazine already categorized Indonesian election, although at that time we still separate between legislative election and presidential election, but our legislative election categorized as the biggest one-day election in the world. In 2024, not only our national concurrent elections will be conducted, but also as mentioned earlier by Bapak Arif, we will also conduct regional elections to elect governors, regents, and mayors, 37 gubernatorial elections, and 508 regent and mayor elections, November 27. So please come again to Indonesia in November 2024. You will see we will elect at the same time governor, regent, and mayor. Next slide. And also already described by Pak Hadar and Pak Arif, the election in Indonesia not only to serve the voters in Indonesia or domestic voters, but also Indonesia we provide services to all of citizens in all over the world. For 2024 elections, we have election in 128 Indonesian representatives. I just come back from Kuala Lumpur to observe the election in Kuala Lumpur that conducted in Sunday, February 11. It's a big event involving 100,000 of voters. I will show you the pictures from the elections in Kuala Lumpur that election in overseas conducted earlier compared to domestic election in Indonesia. So for example, like in Kuala Lumpur, the voting day conducted in on Sunday, February 11, and in Hong Kong will be conducted in February 14. So they choose same day with the voting day in Indonesia. But mostly the voting overseas, they choose the date that earlier compared to Indonesia. Next slide. So this is the detailed categorization of Indonesian voters, but I'm so sorry that it is still in Bahasa Indonesia. So 56.45% of Indonesian voters are Gen Z and millennials. So as you can see on screen that there are 22.85% of Gen Z voters. It means they are they were born between 1997 to 2009, and 33.60% are millennials. So the upcoming election is young voters elections. Almost more than 113 million voters are young voters under 40 years old. Next slide. And this is why the biggest one-day election with the most technical complexity in the world. Because we combine the concurrent elections, legislative and presidential election at the same time with open list proportional system and single non-transferable vote system. So we have so many candidates. In total, I count this, I try to count all the candidates number. The total for National House, Senate, Provincial House, Regency City House candidates, there are more than 258,000 candidates all over Indonesia. So can you imagine how busy we are in preparing logistic equipments? We must print more than 1.2 billion ballot papers and distribute it to more than 800,000 polling stations. It's not an easy work for our election organizers. Next slide. So the ballot will be like this. We choose different color for each ballot. The gray color is for the presidential election, and then the red color for Senate or DPD, the yellow color for National House Representative, and the blue color for Provincial House of Representative, and the green one for the lower level, Regency and city level. So when you come to elect polling station tomorrow, you can see that we have 5 different ballots color for our elections. Next slide. And voters in Indonesia, we can check our status register or unregistered by inputting our ID number to the system. This system it is a website released by KPU to check our status register or not in our voter list. Check dptonline.kpu.go.id. I can say that this is the biggest centralized electronic voter list owned by Election Commission in the world. We put it in one server, in one system. All the data of Indonesian voters consists of 204,000 million voters in Indonesia. Next slide. So you can see on screen, this is my status in the voter list. By inputting my ID number, I can check my polling location, polling station location. 121 is my polling ID. I will vote in that polling station. You can see the map on the corner, up on the top. Even I can click that map, and then the map will guide me to the polling station where I register as a voter. This is one of the improvement for this upcoming election. During the era of Pak Arief Budiman, we don't have attachment with the map like this. But today we can go to the polling station by clicking the map on the top corner of the website. So Pak Hadar Nafis Gumai started this initiative in 2013, continued by Pak Arief Budiman, and then improved by the current election commission. So Bapak Hadar Nafis Gumai building a very strategic foundation to develop better voter list in Indonesia. Next slide. So we have 3 categories of voter status. So when you are already registered, you will be categorized as DPT. DPT is acronym for Daftar Pemilih Tetap or Fixed Voter List. And then DPTB, when you are moving to another areas and register to election commission, you will be categorized as DPTB. And the last one, when you are not registered as voters, you still can vote by showing your ID, your national ID, but you only can vote at your domicile, your address in your ID card. So you cannot vote in all over Indonesia. You only can vote in your legal domicile. Next slide. So this is my experiences observing and monitoring the election overseas. I went to Kuala Lumpur 3 days ago, and then I observed the election in there. As you can see on screen, this is the queue, the line involving 100,000 of voters in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. This is only in Kuala Lumpur. In Kuala Lumpur, there were more than 591,000 voters in there. Because in Malaysia, we have more or less 1 million documented citizen stay in Malaysia to work, and mostly as migrant workers. So they were queuing until at least 5 hours just to be able to vote at the voting booth. You can see it's thousands of voters taking in line to casting their votes. Next slide. And this is the situation. You can see on the second line of the screen, we provide, the government and also the election commission, they provide 400 computers to verify, to validate the status of the voters by showing their passport number. So the election commission can know the status of their registration in the voter list. Next slide. And this is the voting booth. We have more than 223 voting booth, with each voting booth consists of maximum 1,000 voters. So it's a very colossal event. I observed on Sunday a few days ago. Next slide. So when I asked one of the migrant workers who come to the polling station who took place in one location, World Trade Center of Kuala Lumpur, why you spend your time early morning coming to this building and willing to vote? And then she said that, because I feel like recognized by my country, because my country fulfill my rights, and I feel nationalism as a citizen of the Republic of Indonesia. That's my experience with the overseas voting. And then how I understand, how I put 2024 election. For me, 2024 election is a very critical election for Indonesian democracy. The second concurrent elections, the fifth direct presidential elections, and the 13th legislative election in the Indonesian electoral history. Concurrent election with more than 258 candidates, but the campaign period is very short, only 75 days. So many issues, controversy, speculations, and election organizers are very busy with the election technicalities. As a result, the public cannot really concentrate on political ideas, and election organizers facing so many challenges in organizing the election stages with quality and professionality. Because of its complexity and so many candidates involved in the elections in their electorates, voters then tend to have less attention on legislative election and focus more on the presidential elections. Complicated electoral system and voting procedures increase voters' invalid votes. Many votes were categorized as invalid for far above the global tolerance figure, which range from 2 to 4%. I will show you the data. Next slide. So this is the data of invalid votes in House of Representative election. You can see that more than 17.5 million votes are categorized as invalid because they feel confused how to vote, how to make your vote valid, because the size of the ballot paper is so big, so many candidates, and sometimes they don't get enough or proper access on voter information and voter education. And for example, like the Senate elections that will be followed by Bapak Putu, the invalid votes is so high, 90%, equal to 29 million invalid votes. So we have high numbers of turnout, 81.69% of voters turnout, but also we are facing problem with the ability of the voters to casting their votes validly. So this is one of the challenges. My last slide. So what we can do, next slide, for the upcoming election, what public can do? First, of course, this is not only the election organizers' agenda. This is our agenda. This is also part of us to get involved because election is one of the variable in Indonesian democracy that giving contribution to improve the scores of Indonesian democracy. Participate in providing information and voter education to the communities. Many community group establish programs and initiatives to educate voters about the election procedures, access to candidates information, and how to report complaints and violation. And also monitor the election process, including the election day, voting and counting process. Voting and counting process in Indonesia is one of the most transparent and accountable voting process in the world. Tomorrow you can observe that you can see all the process in the polling station, of course, excluding the voting booth because that part of the secrecy process. And also the last one is report the violation to the nearest election supervisory body or Bawaslu in their area. Me and Pak Hadar, I think part of the group of the voters who actively involved to report the violation to election supervisory body. I think that's all. Sorry, I exceed the limit for 2 minutes. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Ms. Titi, for your remarkable presentation and the whole the process of observing the process of election in overseas, especially in Malaysia. That makes me more proud to be Indonesian people, since we can conducting the election as directly, freely, and secret. It's my own vote. And then, of course, as mentioned by Ms. Titi, that people or the whole world probably see that the election in Indonesia is quite huge, and they also mentioned about the colossal election, and as also that every time, every years, and then every election, Indonesian try to improve the system of election, general election, so that the result is our participation in every general election is getting higher and higher, and then the awareness of the people to get their own vote is getting high also. Well, wrapping up our insightful session with Ms. Titi, of course, it can be complete without the questions come from the floor. I believe that you all have some questions or thought-buzzing opinion about the process of general election in Indonesia, but please give me apologize because since the time limit, so that the question is going to be limited only for 3 questions. Please raise your hand first, and then please mention your name, and then you can directly address the question to the panelists. Please, sir, in front, please.
Terima kasih banyak. Very impressive, very besar. just had one question about the voting ballot form. Was it true that it's just one piece of paper with many different levels? And why is that preferable to separate ballot forms that may make it clearer in the voters' mind about separating presidential from regional from municipal?
Kertas.
Yeah. Sorry, Luke Gosling. I'm a MP from Australia. Makasih banyak.
Thank you, Honorable. Please, I would like to address probably Mr. Hadar. Could answer the question, please, and probably that complete by others. Thank you. Kita punya contoh nanti. Ada sesi. Oh, ada contoh nanti. Oh, ada simulasinya ya. Ada simulasi.
Oh, okay. Then I heard there will be a simulation. Then you will see all those ballot papers. But anyway, yes, we have 5 elections, and each of these election has its ballot papers, and also has its box. So all the procedures has to be, do one by one. There's a lot of ideas to combine to make it more simple and so on. But then it's all in our law, all this regulate quite details, so that the EMB's KPU, they're not able to go with a new idea, a new simpler idea to do it, to implement, because they have to follow what the law says. Now, for this one, well, Indonesia usually in every election we amend we have a new law. So I don't know if this is good or not. I'm not so sure, but it always happened like that. Before 2004, we have a new elections. It's improved again. 2009, 2014, 2019. But for this one, it was like 1 year. It was a discussion in the parliament, EMBs, the parliament itself, and also the government. But then it all decided after 1 year, well, we should continue this, because it's not good to change all the time. We should try to implement it more than one election. So it all stopped. So actually, the law for 2019 and for this one is exactly the same law. So then again, the ideas of new ideas coming to make it more simple. There was an idea like, why don't we combine 3 election or 2 election in one ballot paper? So we don't need to open and fold it back again and count it again and put it in boxes again and so on. And also it will make more efficient, because then you don't need to have 5 big ballot paper, for example. So all of this cannot be changed because the law did not change. And then the law regulate this very detailed. So I hope I respond to you. Yeah, sama-sama.
Thank you, Mr. Hadar. Is there any additional answer?
I would like to explain more about the invalid votes. So I did small research on how they vote invalidly. So there are 4 categories of invalid votes. I found out. First, they make it blank votes. So because they are focusing only on presidential election, they just receive the legislative ballots, 4 ballots, and then just make it blank. They don't do anything with the ballots because their priority is presidential election. You know what? When I come to Malaysia, when I just stand outside the building, they come to me voluntarily and then try to campaigning their presidential candidates. But when I ask them, who will you vote for the legislative election? they say that why I need to vote for the legislative election. That's become of our challenge, by having the 5 ballots and 5 election in one day. So the second one is cross voting. So they vote for candidate from party A, but because they don't like the political party, but they like the candidate, but they also vote for the party logo from the party B. So they like the candidate from party A, but don't like the party A, but they like party B. So it's cross voting. It makes the ballot invalid. And the third one is multiple voting. They vote for several candidates because they know all of the candidates, so they vote for all of them, and it make invalid. And the last one is lack capacity of the polling officials. The polling officials cannot understand how to divide the valid votes or invalid, because in the administrative process, there are 16 types of valid votes. 16 types. 16 typology of valid votes that regulates in KPU regulation. So not all of the polling official understand that regulation. So yeah, that's my additional information.
Thank you, Ms. Titi, for your additional information. Hopefully that fulfill your question, sir. All right. Is there any another question? Yes, please, sir, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Eli Kingu from Tanzania. I'm the Member of Parliament from Tanzania. Mine is just the appreciation over the very exhaustive presentation that have been made by presenters. I really congratulate you for the clear elaborations that you have made. It has really created a lot of attention to me that I feel that one day we may have some cooperation between my electoral commission and the Indonesian electoral commissions. I'm so much interested on the area of voter status, that even voters can view their status through IT. So this is the most important area that I'm so much interested. Maybe one day I will try to convince my electoral commission in Tanzania so that they may write a letter to see how we can have a collaboration and see how we can exchange ideas and information as far as the two institutions are concerned. Lastly, I can just say that I wish you all the best, and I'm so much happy to see my friend Putu. Putu is our good friend in Tanzania, and we wish him all the best. We have been together in IPU as an active member, and as a young parliamentarian, I wish him all the best. In Tanzania in general, we wish you all the best. We know you are very active. I'm not campaigning, but I know that you are a smart young man who can really reflect the future for Indonesia. All in all, we wish you all the best. I bring you all these greetings from the president of IPU, who is from Tanzania, Speaker Dr. Tulia Ackson. She's in New York, but she asked me to extend the greetings from IPU, and she wish you all the best, and she love Indonesia. And even my president was here last 10 days. She visited Indonesia, so we wish you all the best, and may God bless you and give you a good election. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. King, for your positive response and the positive statement also for this session. Thank you so much. And then another questions, please.
I'm Zahir from Malaysia.
Okay.
From Malaysia. First of all, thank you very much for sharing your experiences and your preparation for this particular election 2024. Has given a very good insight of what's happening in terms of the whole process. Thank you for the sharing. I've got two questions. First question is in line with SDG number 5, Sustainable Development Goal on Gender Equality. Can you share with us with regards to women participation in the Indonesian election? Is there any statistic that you'd like to share with us? That is first question. Second question is, okay, there's a lot of millions of ballot papers
I'm just wondering whether the process of counting these ballot papers is done manually or is being digitized as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your questions. I believe the first question is addressed to Ms. Titi Anggraini. Please.
Tomorrow election, tomorrow. Yeah, this is actually my first election that one day before the election I away from Jakarta, but for Pak Indra, I come to Bali. Well, Pak, the election involving more than female voters compared to male voters. So female voters are 50 point something%. So female more than male voters. But regarding the female representation in parliament, we are still under the expectation. From the last election, 2019, there were 118 female candidates elected as House of Representative members. It was equal with 20.5%. So 118 among 575 members of House of Representatives. So for tomorrow elections, we increase the number of parliament members based on the new law in lieu ya, or in bahasa Indonesia peraturan pemerintah pengganti undang-undang. So in 2019, the total members of parliament is 575. But for the upcoming election, there will be 580. So 5 more seats from the new province. So we add 4 provinces, new 4 provinces in Papua. In last election, only 34 provinces, but for the upcoming election, we have 38 provinces. So about the woman representation, still below 30%, because the quota only for the nomination or for the candidacy, that the candidate list must be consist minimum 30% of female candidates. So the affirmative action only for the nomination or the candidacy, but for the election, it depends on the votes from the voters, because we use popular vote to determine the elected candidate. Yeah, that's a big challenge for us, because it's a high cost politics. It's not easy to win the seat. And you know that the female candidate usually facing challenge on the budget or finance to finance their campaign. And the electorate is so big, the voters is so many, they must spend a lot of money to reach all the voters. And also, yeah, it's not easy to compete with the male candidates. Yeah, that's all my response.
Thank you, Ms. Titi, for the answering first questions. And then the second questions I will address to Mr. Arif. Mr. Budi. Okay, please.
Okay. I have additional information about women participations. Yeah, since 2009 elections, 2014 and 2019, well, candidacy, women candidacy are getting higher, and also women who are having seats at the House of Representatives are also getting higher. But we don't know in 2024 because there are some, yeah. There are some different regulations in KPU. We don't know whether this will be make it more seats or there will be decrease the women participation in parliament. And for the ballot paper, as we know that we have more than 2 million voters, registered voters, so it will be times 5. So totally, we produce more than 1 billion ballot papers, and it must be distributed to the more than 800,000 polling stations, including in the remote area. in the remote islands, yes, it's a great challenge for us because we have a lot of, we are archipelago. So we have a big and small islands. Yeah. And we still regulate that counting the ballot paper manually. Yeah. Even now we have an application that we can, well, we can send the results by application and directly will be automatic recap by the system. But we have a single counting for every ballot paper in the polling stations. That's why we call our election is not only the biggest one-day elections, but also the most complex election in the world. We have to counting every ballot paper one by one. So you can see it tomorrow at the, and this is a very open and transparent process. So I can see, I have seen election in some countries. I see that this is the most open and transparent process at the polling stations. Yeah. Everybody can see, not only the witness from the participant, from the political parties, but also observer, domestic and international observer, and also voters. They usually come early in the morning to use their right to vote, and then they going home, they get sleep, and in the afternoon, they're going back to the polling station. They see the process of counting. And this is also an answer for you from Australia. We have 3 ballots paper. Also, we have 5 ballots paper. Also, we have 5 certificate. So that's why we have 5 boxes for collecting all the equipment, all the logistic for every type of the elections. Ballot paper for the municipality, ballot paper for the province, for the national, for the presidential, and also for the DPD. So they have their own boxes, and they will open it when the time of counting is arrived. Then they open it one by one, the ballot boxes. And finally, they will collect all 5 boxes to the sub-district and then finally to the city's office. Actually, when in my era, we have already tried to redesign the ballot paper from 5 ballot papers going to 2 or 3 ballot papers. But yeah, we have a lot of not handicap, but we have a lot of challenge because of the regulations. Yeah, so yeah, we try to make our election actually become more effective and efficient. So the using of the information technology, hope that someday will make our election will be getting more effective and efficient. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arif, for the additional answer and a comprehensive answer of the question from the audience. And then we still have 15 minutes. So I get the chance to raise only one question, please. The Mr. behind, oh, in the front first? Okay. Well, 2 of you will get the questions. Right. Thank you, please.
I'm Marcos from Timor-Leste. I will speak in Indonesia language. Baik, yang pertama-tama kami mengucapkan apresiasi kepada penjelasannya, yang pengajian materi yang sangat detail dan lengkap. Yang saya mau tanyakan secara penjelasan secara teknis mengenai orang-orang yang kurang melihat kemudian melihat karena kita punya suara itu kan ada 5, dan juga yang usia lanjut, bagaimana mereka bisa menggunakan hak suara mereka dengan baik, tapi mereka ada kondisi yang mungkin tidak bisa melihat kartu suaranya secara jelas, yang ada yang kurang mengenalnya. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Pak Marcos. Thank you very much. The questions will answer by Pak Mr. Hadar, please. Oh, one more. Can I just one question and then answered, and then the other question next.
Thank you so much, Bapak dari Timor Leste atas pertanyaannya. Yes, Indonesian election has been very trying to improve for all, to be inclusive and for all different ages, different background and conditions of the voters, and including disabilities. Yeah, we have especially for the blind. Though it is only for the presidential elections, because the other elections, it's a big election in terms of ballot papers, a lot of names, candidates on it. So it's very difficult to provide a template, a Braille template on it. So then we only can provide for the presidential election so far. It was one time also for the regional councils, but then now it's stick more on the presidential elections. Yeah. DPD and the president. I'm sorry, DPD, continue DPD, the regional councils, and the presidential election. So, but then in every polling stations also we provide one of the election officials to be an assistance if needed. So if voters need a help, then they can ask the officials. Then official can help to assist whatever needed. In fact, including to punch. If voters are not able to do it, or just to assist to go to the ballot, to the polling booth, for example, or holding the ballot paper and open it and so on. But then for this official, they need to write a statement. There's a special paper provided if he was asked to do so. Basically stated, yes, I'm doing an assistant for this, and I promise for not telling the choice that been made. It was helping to punch the choice. So there's a services, there's a regulations to that. Or if the voters also decided to, no, I bring my family to help me. That's if consider these voters really cannot do it because of disability and so on. Yes, they can do that with the assistance that they decide by themselves. So that's the regulations also available for that conditions. Now, for those people who's sick, yeah, and cannot move in the election day, but then they live not very far from the polling stations. Regulation also says that representative or 2 or 3 the official can come to this house for this sick person, especially at the time where the polling station already a bit quiet. Most of the voters already votes, and there's still a time until 1 o'clock. Then they can go there, of course, with the supervisory person that go and or the witness of the political party just go together to the house of the sick person. So that's the condition. That's how we do it, just to provide all services to our different kind of voters. So I hope that's answered the questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hadar, for the excellent answer. And then the last one, last questions, please, from the Mr. behind. Yeah, that's.
Good morning, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tiskun. I'm the MP from the Kingdom of Cambodia.
Cambodia.
First of all, I would like to express my appreciation for the panelists' comprehensive and informative presentation on the Indonesian general election. My question is how you deal with the overseas ballot that over 1.7 million. How you deal, how you count and verify, because they are from a different constituency. So then how to deal it? And also I have seen this election very complicated. There are 5 concurrent election together. But why you don't put another election, regional, governor and mayor together with this one as well? And another one question is how big the budget that required for this election? Thank you. Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. It's very quite complete. The last question is a very complete one. And I believe Mr. Arif and Miss Titi could answer the questions, please. All right. Please.
Yeah. Don't give price tag on democracy. Somebody said that. But Pak Arif will answer about the budget. Yeah, for the overseas voters, they will only vote for 2 elections, presidential election and House of Representative election at the national level. So only to vote for president and DPR. So for DPR, we have 84 electorates, but the overseas voters is part of the Jakarta 2 electorates. So overseas, together with Central Jakarta and South Jakarta, become the Jakarta 2 electorates. So wherever they come from, any provinces or region or city, but when they are defined as the overseas voters, they will vote for president candidates and legislative candidates from the electorates of Jakarta 2. So only for the Jakarta 2. So that's why they only will receive 2 ballot papers in overseas elections. Yeah, that's my explanation.
Yeah. So overseas voters only receive 2 ballot papers, presidentials and the National House of Representatives. And we have the same process as the domestic process. We will counting manually for the ballot papers. And they will send the certificate, the results to the national recapitulation at the national recapitulations. And we will involve the result from the overseas to the Jakarta 2. And how much the budget? 2024 elections have 3 times more, much more budgets than our last elections compared to the 2019 elections. Well, at the 2019 election, we almost spent around 25 trillions, 25 trillion rupiahs. How much in US dollar? 25 trillion rupiahs. Ya, banyak. And now we allocate the budget for the 2024 76.6 trillion, 3 times much more than our last elections. But this is the allocation budget. So we will check finally how much are used for the elections. I think it will be around 50 trillions. Yeah. But we allocate for 76.6 trillions. Yeah.
Yes, please. Silakan, Miss.
Yeah. Additional information about the method to vote in overseas voting. So different with voting in Indonesia. In Indonesia, we only can vote at the polling station on the voting day. We don't have advance voting in Indonesia. So all the voters will come to the polling station at the same day, same time. But in overseas, there are 3 methods that can be used by the voters overseas. First, they can come to the polling station that established by the polling organizers. So in overseas, we also form election officials that appointed by the election commission. So they will provide the polling station usually in embassy, or like in Malaysia, they rent one building 4 stories, World Trade Center Kuala Lumpur as polling location. And then they also can vote through Dropbox. So usually the polling officials will send the ballot box to a plantation or factory that have so many Indonesian citizens there. So they can vote using the Dropbox system. And the last one is vote by mail. So in Malaysia, we record that there were 157,000 voters that vote by mail. So we will send the ballot papers through a post, and then they will send back the ballot paper to polling officials that located in Indonesian embassy. Yeah, that's all my additional information.
Okay. Thank you so much, Miss Titi Anggraini, for the additional answer. And then I believe it is time for us to stop the discussion. The session is on schedule, and then we take to the final of the session. Well, I would like to express gratitude to our distinguished speakers. Please give applause to all of the participants. Your insight has illuminated our understanding on the landscape of the Indonesian general election. And of course, a heartfelt thank you to you all, ladies and gentlemen, for the thoughtful questions and in the active participation during question and answer. I believe that all your question and the answer is deepening our knowledge about the Indonesian election for 2024. Once again, thank you so much. Please give applause to all of us. Now, I would like to hand the microphone back to our fantastic Master of Ceremony. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Excellencies and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for all the panelists and the fantastic moderator for the remarkable presentations. Now, I would like to inform you that the next sessions will be commenced at 1 p.m. local time. We kindly invite you to enjoy the lunch that will be served at Nusantara Room 3, located in the same area of this ballroom. Thank you so much once again, and we see you on the next sessions. Thank you.